The colony world of Veralia shimmered like a distant pearl amid the blackness of the void. Its oceans glowed faintly blue under the cold light of its twin suns, and its sprawling city domes dotted the landscape, each filled with refugees from a dozen species. Once it had been a place of peace. Now it trembled under siege. The invaders had arrived without warning. Metallic ships like shards of knives pierced the upper atmosphere. They did not send diplomats or make demands. They began to burn cities from orbit, efficient and cold. The defenders of the local coalition fought bravely, but their fleets were scattered, their worlds already crumbling. The Galactic Council had abandoned Veralia, calling it a lost frontier. Even the neighboring star empires refused to help. The colony was written off as doomed. Among the survivors, hope became a whisper. Many believed rescue would never come. Humanity, the newest member of the council, was too far, too small, too inexperienced. The elders of the other species said it plainly. No help would come from Earth. Humans had barely joined the galactic stage a century ago. Their fleets were modest. Their ships, while sturdy, were considered primitive by most. Yet whispers began circulating among the refugees about a human distress call sent to Sol. No one truly believed it would matter. Even the eldest of the alien governors had said, humans do not have the reach to cross such distance in time. The invasion continued for weeks. Towers collapsed under plasma fire. The skies grew red with the glow of burning atmosphere. The defenders of Veralia, once proud, now hid underground. A human officer named Commander Reed led one of the last mixed battalions, sheltering thousands in a cavern complex beneath the city ruins. Supplies were nearly gone. Communications were broken. The orbital stations had fallen silent. Still, Reed stood at the command table, his uniform torn, his face streaked with dust. Around him, alien officers despaired. A feline-like strategist hissed softly, "We are finished. No one is coming." Another, with pale green skin and trembling hands, muttered, "They will erase this world as they did with the others." Reed said nothing for a long time. He looked at the cracked holographic map and whispered, "Then we hold, because someone has to." Outside, the night burned with fire. The invaders' siege ships began their final descent. Their weapons turned toward the underground shelters. Sensors picked up energy spikes across the surface. The end was near. Civilians cried. Soldiers prepared for a hopeless stand. Reed walked among them, placing a hand on shoulders, speaking quietly, his tone steady. "Hold your ground. Do not break. Help is coming." None believed him. In orbit, the last defense satellites flared and went dark. Then, suddenly, the sky above the burning planet began to shift. A new signal appeared on the scanners, faint at first, then multiplying rapidly. The alien fleet commanders dismissed it as debris, until the readings grew stronger. Unknown mass signatures, dozens of them, then hundreds. Moving fast, the invaders' sensors began to panic. The unknown ships did not match any known fleet. They were coming from outside the system, their warp trails dense and overlapping, far faster than standard transit speeds. Within minutes, the sky filled with energy distortions, and then they came. First, a single vessel emerged, massive beyond anything Verelia's defenders had seen. Its hull was dark as night, shaped like a blade, its flanks lined with 1,000 lights. The ship's name glowed faintly across its armored side, UNS Resolute. Following it came another and another, until the sky seemed to tear open under the weight of titanic dreadnoughts emerging from warp space. They filled the heavens. Each ship dwarfed the enemy fleet. Each carried weapons arrays glowing like the heart of a sun. When their formation stabilized, their combined shadow darkened the surface below. The skies went black, not from smoke, but from the sheer number of human warships blocking the twin suns. The refugees in the cavern stumbled outside, shielding their eyes. The enemy fleet began transmitting desperate warnings among themselves. Then came a voice. It echoed across all frequencies, calm and clear. "This is Admiral Holt of the United Terran Navy. Veralia, we hear you. You are not alone." Cheers erupted through the caverns. Soldiers who had given up hope dropped to their knees. Even the alien commanders stared at their screens in disbelief. The humans had come, not with small ships or token aid, but with the full weight of Earth's armada. The invaders opened fire first. Plasma bolts and rail slugs shot toward the approaching dreadnoughts. They struck human shields and dispersed harmlessly. Holt gave one order: return fire. The human fleet moved as one. Thousands of turrets rotated. The darkness of space exploded in blinding light. Lances of energy crossed the void, cutting through enemy formations like knives through mist. Whole fleets vanished in seconds. The largest of the invader battleships attempted to retreat, but the humans had already anticipated it. Swarms of guided projectiles intercepted them mid-flight, detonating in brilliant spheres that burned across the upper atmosphere. Within minutes, the orbital assault ended. From the surface, the people of Virelia looked up in awe as streaks of light crossed the heavens. The invaders' ships fell like meteors consumed by flame. The once hopeless battlefield now shone with victory. Commander Reed stood at the entrance of the shelter, watching the spectacle unfold. His second-in-command, an avian officer with dark plumage, spoke quietly. "I thought Earth had no fleets this size." Reed smiled faintly. "They didn't, not then. But they built them because they knew someone would need them one day." As the battle shifted to pursuit, the full scope of humanity's arrival became clear. Carrier groups launched atmospheric wings of fighters that streaked through the clouds, engaging enemy remnants. Dropships began landing across the planet, deploying troops and aid packages. The coalition refugees watched as human engineers and medics poured from those ships, tending to the wounded of every species without hesitation. Humanity had not come for conquest. They had come because someone asked for help. Admiral Holt's flagship entered low orbit, deploying shield generators to stabilize the planet's remaining atmosphere. His message echoed once more through the comm relays. "To all survivors, the line has held. You are safe." The invader fleet was shattered, their retreat cut off. A few attempted to flee beyond the outer moons, but human pursuit squadrons tracked them relentlessly. One after another, their signals vanished. Humanity had not only defended Virelia, they had changed the balance of power in the galaxy. The other species watched in disbelief. The Council, safe in their distant stations, received the reports with silent awe. They had expected Earth to remain minor, a small civilization on a blue world. Instead, they saw a people who crossed the stars without waiting for permission. They saw dreadnoughts forged in orbit around a small sun, built not for expansion but for protection. On Virelia, the aftermath revealed the true magnitude of the event. Craters still smoked, but the sky was clear. The once hopeless colony was now guarded by the largest fleet ever assembled. Commander Reed stood beside an alien leader who bowed in gratitude. "We thought no one would come," she said softly. Even the Council turned away. Reed looked up at the vast human ships hovering above the clouds and replied, "That's the thing about Earth. When we say we're coming, we mean it." Days passed as the survivors rebuilt. Human ships deployed orbital stations, power grids, and communication networks. The invaders' technology was studied, neutralized, and disassembled. Humanity worked side by side with other species, never asking for tribute, never demanding repayment. Their purpose was clear. No world that called for help would be left to burn again. In the command dome of the UNS Resolute, Admiral Holt stood before a wide viewport, watching the planet turn below. Reports streamed in from across the fleet. Minimal losses, successful planetary defense, and complete elimination of the enemy armada. His officers stood silently, waiting for his word. "Sir," one said, "the Council is requesting contact. They're asking how we managed this so fast." Holt smiled faintly. "Tell them Earth was listening long before they started talking." He turned away, gazing out at the horizon. "Signal Sol Command. Tell them Virelia stands." Across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. Worlds that had feared the invaders now rallied behind the human banner. Old empires that had dismissed humanity now sought alliance. Yet Holt knew what truly mattered wasn't reputation or politics. It was the promise kept, that when someone called for help, humanity answered. Reed and his soldiers remained on Virelia as reconstruction began. They helped rebuild schools, homes, and roads. The once broken population began to smile again. Children from half a dozen species ran through the ruins, waving makeshift flags painted with Earth's blue and white emblem. To them, humanity wasn't just a word, it was hope made real. One evening, as the twin suns set over the quiet plains, Reed walked through the rebuilt central square. Above, the human dreadnoughts drifted slowly like silent guardians. Beside him, a young engineer from the colony asked, "Why did you come? You could have stayed safe at home." Reed looked up at the ships and said, "Because we remember what it's like to be alone." In the following months, the coalition rebuilt stronger than before. Human engineers shared designs for defensive grids and shield relays. New alliances formed. The invaders never returned. And yet their memory lingered. A warning to those who believed no-oh,